I think Jon Stewart's a bigot. I think
Jon Stewart's a bigot. Hold on. Now we're going to get into it. Jon Stewart, my old boss, my friend.
Yeah, I think he's a bigot.
How is he a bigot?
I think he looks at the world through his mom, who was a school teacher, and his dad, who was a physicist or something like that. Great. I'm so happy that he grew up in a suburban, middle-class New Jersey home with everything that you could ever imagine.
What group is he bigoted towards?
Everybody else who's not like him. Look at his show. I mean, what does he surround himself with?
But listen, he picks on Jews all the time. He's a Jew.
Yeah.
He focuses on them. I think he overcompensates to some extent. I always noticed that.
Yeah.
He goes after himself.
Well, by the way,
people like him and everybody else. I distressure with you, and I defy you to give me a specific example.
Let me give you an example of what I mean about that. By the way, I don't necessarily think
pretty strong words. Calling Jon Stewart a bigot. Calling anybody a bigot. Give me an example.
Well, that's what happens when you watch yourself on his show every day, and all they ever do is call you stupid. You see,
well, if he's bigoted against the ignorant, fine. If he's bigoted against the apathetic, and he's being elitist, saying that others are stupid, but what group specifically? Call someone a bigot against who?
Anybody who's different than you are. Anybody who's not from your frame of reference. Anybody who doesn't look and sound exactly like the people that you sound and grew up with. The people that you put on your show who always reflect somebody who's I'm bringing in to sit around me, who's very different from me. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just don't buy this thing that the only people out there who are prejudiced, all right? The only people out there who are prejudiced are the right. There's people who are prejudiced on both sides.
But you're not giving me a specific example. You're saying he's bigoted towards people who aren't like him. His guests come from he has the most right-wing.
I think.
Don't you point your Sharpie at me, Sanchez. Don't you take your Sharpie out.
I think Jon's show is essentially prejudicial. I think that Jon's show
against who?
Against anybody who doesn't agree with his point of view, which is very much a white liberal establishment point of view. He can't relate to a guy like me. He can't relate to a guy whose dad worked all his life. He can't relate to somebody who grew up poor.
He can't relate
to somebody.
Whoa.
No, he can't.
He's a stand-up comedian.
No, he's not. According to Time Magazine, he's the guy that most Americans trust for news.
Whatever. He's a stand-up comedian.
But it's not whatever.
It's not. You just said he can't relate to people like you. Rick, hold on. Rick, I'm a stand-up comedian. Right. I've been a stand-up comedian for 15 years. It's a really, really difficult job. It's filled with failure. It's filled with travel. It's filled with hard work. We might not be out there doing, physical labor and like your dad did, but I don't think it's fair to define.
No. You're right.
Very hard.
You're
and
right.
I'm telling you, he puts in 12 hours a day on that show.
You're right.
And his staff respects him. And I don't agree with that.
You're right.
I don't know his parents.
You're right. I'm not saying.
I worked for him.
No, wait. You've misunderstood me. I'm not saying that he doesn't.
He can't relate to people who work hard.
No, he can't relate to what I grew up with. Absolutely
that's not fair. But that's not fair to say because he didn't have your life experience. He's not somehow on your level. It's not his fault. We can't just say.
No, it's that he looks at me as not being on his level. Yeah,
I think you're holding a grudge because he picked on you.
I'm telling you.
Didn't you fire a bomb at Colbert last week?
I can't remember.
Didn't you take a shot at Colbert? You guys are crazy.
I must have at some point. But yeah, look, my point is very simple. I see stuff O'Reilly and Glenn Beck do, and I say, wow. That's very discriminatory. Mm-hmm. That's very prejudicial. And I look at stuff that Colbert and Jon Stewart do, and I think, wow, that's very prejudicial. So, we have a tendency to only look at one side. I'm saying we ought to be able to look at both sides.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
I certainly agree with that. But here,
so if we're going to call one side bigoted, we probably got to look at the other side.
Well,
and say
I'd be careful with the word bigot. I'd be careful.
All right, I'll take the word bigot back. I'll say prejudicial.
Look at what I did here.
Uninformed.